Welcome to the Cannabis Compliance Podcast, an educational infocast series on important compliance topics in the cannabis industry from Adherence Compliance. Adherence Compliance is the #1 provider of automated cannabis compliance solutions and services for regulatory agencies supporting cannabis. We provide compliance inspection software, operations training, inspection services, and program support for the cannabis industry. Adherence Compliance supports 3 practice verticals. For our government services partners, Adherence provides regulatory code support, compliance inspection software, regulatory reporting, and program management. For our financial services practice, we provide in-depth training for banks and credit unions to establish compliant cannabis banking programs. For our enterprise services clients, Adherence provides licensed cannabis businesses and multi-jurisdiction operations with automated cannabis compliance programs and services. Now, over to our subject matter expert for today's Cannabis Compliance podcast topic.
Today's cannabis compliance topic is cannabis compliance inspections. A cannabis compliance inspection starts with a notification or on-site visit from a government regulatory agency. As cannabis is one of the most highly regulated industries in the world, it is imperative for cannabis owners and investors to prepare for inspections. There are 2 methods of inspections, which include announced visits and unannounced visits. Announced visits are where the regulator gives you up to 1 week notification in advance of an on-site compliance inspection. Unannounced visits are where the regulator shows up randomly and conducts the on-site compliance inspection. And we have 2 types of cannabis compliance inspections. The first are regulatory inspections, which focus on operational license requirements, and the second are financial inspections, which focus on financial records, transactions, and reporting of cannabis activity. For regulatory inspections, the cannabis operation can face scrutiny from multiple levels, including city, county, state, and federal agencies. In markets such as California, cities and counties are part of the licensing process with dual licensing approval required. In all North American markets, cities and counties can play an active role with regulatory compliance inspections. If the local jurisdiction has any documented cannabis codes, statutes, or regulations, the license owner and investor are responsible for following and adhering to the rules as required. Local regulations that affect cannabis operators are site planning, development, fire code, health and public safety, zoning, and more. In the United States, the individual states are responsible for licensing, administration, and enforcement of cannabis. In effect, each state is a silo for regulatory code. States can differ dramatically on the level of regulatory code and who is responsible for enforcement. In Colorado, a special division of the Department of Revenue was created to administer and enforce regulatory code associated with cannabis licenses. The Marijuana Enforcement Division is responsible for administering fines, penalties, probation, and license revocation. Colorado has more than 380 pages of regulatory code at the state level. In states such as Oregon and Washington, the Liquor Control Commission is responsible for enforcement. Regulating liquor is relatively simple compared to cannabis, and both Washington and Oregon have struggled to provide enforcement in a regulated market. During state inspections, many code enforcement officers do not have access to an automated inspection app. On-site cannabis compliance inspections are very subjective and often solely rely on the enforcement officer's interpretation of inspection events. It is important to note that once regulatory agencies are in place, meaning the agency derives administrative revenue and fees from cannabis licensing, regulatory scrutiny will only increase for license owners and investors. At this time, specific federal regulatory code for cannabis does not exist in the United States. However, there are federal agencies who have regulatory oversight, including the Department of Agriculture, OSHA, Consumer Protection, and the Department of Labor. One thing is for certain, regulatory cannabis compliance is here to stay. Be prepared for regulatory inspections for your business or investment. Don't wait until it's too late. Next, we have 2 types of financial reviews. The first are financial inspections, and the second are financial audits. For financial inspections, the cannabis operator is concerned with ensuring all input data required for the financial audit is in place, materially complete, and available for review. This inspection activity is more of an operational checklist to determine readiness for a financial audit. For financial audits, the most critical factor is ensuring all cannabis inventory is accurate in each tracking system. Inventory is reconciled between systems, and all systems are up to date. If inventory is incorrect, the results of the financial audit will be invalid. Cities and counties require cannabis operators to have a local business and tax license. As such, the city or county can conduct a financial review or audit at any time. Troubles at the city or county level can lead to notification at the state level as well. Financial audits at the state level will focus on cannabis and business taxes, including sales and use taxes. And lastly, we have the federal level and related agencies. Cannabis operators are subject to IRS and FinCEN regulatory code, including 280E compliance, currency transaction reports, anti-money laundering requirements, and more. If a cannabis business is not compliant with IRS code for 280E, then the cannabis business will have to refile and pay any related taxes due, interest, and penalty payments. This can be cost prohibitive for a cannabis startup. For currency transaction reports, all cannabis businesses must report each cash transaction over $10,000 via Form 8300 on the IRS website. If these reports are not filed, significant fines can occur. It is important to note that structuring transactions to prevent a CTR from being reported can result in up to 5 years imprisonment. To protect your cannabis business or investment, make sure the business is compliant with all financial and regulatory code. How do we prepare for cannabis compliance inspections and financial audits? Our first recommendation is to hire an independent third-party compliance expert. The ultimate best practice for preparing for and passing regulatory and financial inspections is to hire a trusted third-party cannabis compliance provider with a proven track record and programs designed specifically for the cannabis industry. Our second best practice is to break up cannabis compliance into relevant categories. And our final recommendation is to implement an effective cannabis compliance program. One common mistake many cannabis owners encounter is hiring one person to be responsible for all levels of compliance. In the end, people come and go. However, effective cannabis compliance programs continue to serve the organization. Remember, first put in place the proven process for cannabis compliance, then train those responsible to run your compliance program. And for financial audits, make sure you have properly determined, calculated, and reported all taxes correctly. You should know your tax liabilities, correct tax rates, rules, and laws for each jurisdiction of your operation. For best practices, conduct your own audit first before regulators do. Many cannabis operations who've run into tax and reporting issues have closed their doors permanently, so don't make the same mistake with your organization. What is the most effective way to protect your cannabis license and investment? Your business needs a detailed compliance report that reviews critical compliance requirements, failures by category, and provides a meaningful compliance score. Without a meaningful score, it is difficult to measure overall compliance and license risk. The Adherence Score app was the first mobile compliance inspection app in the cannabis industry and is the only solution utilized by government agencies to monitor and report on cannabis business compliance, risk, and code enforcement. With the Score app, owners and investors can quickly and efficiently conduct on-site compliance reviews and proactively correct violations in real time. Trust the only automated cannabis compliance solution provider that government regulators use. Trust Adherence Compliance. Protect your business and investment today.
For the cannabis enterprise, Adherence offers 3 affordable compliance programs specifically designed for cannabis operators. Each program level includes a special discount rate on compliance services. Our entry-level program provides one user license to the Adherence Score app. The app is perfect for inspecting your cannabis license, researching regulations by license type, and viewing compliance reports. Our platform includes all regulatory cannabis code at the city, county, state, and federal level. With each user license comes one monthly cannabis compliance program review for you and your staff to discuss compliance issues and best practices. Our Chief Compliance Officer program provides up to 5 hours of cannabis compliance program support per month, including weekly meetings and a monthly review. CCO program subscribers obtain Adherence's bi-weekly state cannabis regulatory update for the latest in agency news. And finally, Our Enterprise Compliance Officer program supports large multi-state, multi-country enterprises with more than 5 licensed locations. No matter what size your cannabis business is, Adherence has a compliance program to fit your needs and budget. Not sure where to start when it comes to cannabis compliance? Adherence provides a la carte compliance services for business owners and industry stakeholders, including hourly consultative support is priced at $250 per hour. Cannabis compliance and operations training is $750 per hour for the group rate. Adherence's industry-leading on-site cannabis compliance inspections are a 2-day automated service at $3,000 per operational license. Discounts are available for multi-licensed businesses and current clients. Our flagship Standard Operating Procedure service is offered by license type to ensure you have all you need to start your business and update your operating procedures. Avoid using web-based SOP solutions as they may not meet regulatory requirements for on-site reviews and staff training. Adherence also provides cannabis inventory management services on a monthly basis to ensure your cannabis inventory systems are up to date, compliant, and ready for regulatory reviews. For those who are interested in starting a cannabis business, Adherence Compliance offers business application and license support services, which includes a business plan, standard operating procedure, and application project plan by license type. Whether you are a license owner, investor, bank, or regulatory agency, Adherence Compliance has affordable compliance programs and services for you and your organization. Start smart, start compliant. Contact Adherence Compliance via web, email, phone, or text message to get started today.